This video has been sponsored by Beltline Hobbies and by the Canfield and Wooster Train Shows, February 14th, 2026 and March 14th, 2026.
Hi everybody, it's Chris with the Cloverdale Transit Authority, and today's video I'm going to talk a little bit about the Akron Train Show that happened this last weekend and what I found there. But first off, the Akron Train Show is a very small train show, but a mighty train show, and I'll tell you why. It's, I probably less than 70 tables. It's not thousands and thousands of people. It's not York. It's not even like a regional show like, Canfield or Monroeville or what have you. But it's a great show because every time I've gone there, I have found something that I've been looking for a while and for a great price. I got the 2065, I think it was, for like $30 with the tender and everything. That was the last show. But this time around, I found a locomotive that I did not have in my post-war collection that I've been looking for a while, and a fellow that I know that's at like every single show, and I've got to know him, and my dad and I have bought stuff from him and his son before, and he's had this, he's drugged this from show to show, and I keep looking at it and we keep talking to him about it. And finally, before I even got to the show, I knew he was going to be there. So I said, you know what, I'm going to make I'm going to make an effort to add this into the collection. And I knew he would give me an amazing price, because first off, he doesn't want to drag this thing around with him any longer, but also, again, we've bought a lot of stuff from him, and I knew he was gonna give me a good price. And that, of course, is the 2344 F-3 New York Central from Lionel. 1952 is when this locomotive, it's an AA unit, come out. This is actually this is the non-powered unit. I've got this turnaround. This is the powered unit. They both light up. And they run. He redid all these, put in new brushes and everything. But the only thing is, running this last night, it's pretty noisy, which tells me that probably the worm gears in the motors, and it's got two motors in the power unit, are probably very dry. So we're going to take a look at that today in the video. And some of the lettering is kind of rubbed off. Again, this is where people put their hands and their thumbs to pick stuff up. But this is the early version of the 2344, because it does have the screens here as opposed to the louvers. And this ventilation for what was in the prototypical locomotive, ventilation for the diesel motor, and also has the large General Motors decal back here. So those are two indications that this was the initial version of this, and everything is complete. It's pretty clean. I mean, I could take the shells off and scrub them up a little bit, but I think it's really clean. It's as clean as most of the other locomotives I have, and it's got a lot of cool features, and I will show this to you. On the front pilot truck, there is a metal shield in there that turns with the front coupler, and that's kind of rare because usually this is just wide open. Matter of fact, I was looking around here somewhere to see if I have my Santa Fe F-3, which came out the year before this. I don't think it has that. So, but I love the paint scheme on this, the New York Central paint scheme. So it runs really well, but again, it's very, very noisy. So let me get this open. We'll get the shell off. We'll take a look at what needs to be lubricated, see if we get it to quiet down just a little bit. All right, we got this thing flipped over on its top, and this front pilot truck definitely is different than the Santa Fe version of it. It does not have this little moving shield back and forth that kind of dives back and forth there. and it does look like it's a little more difficult. So it looks like maybe I have to take the shield off in order to really get to the screw that holds the shell on. So that's what we're going to do. So let's see if I can. I'm showing this on screen here. Let me step back here and look. Yeah, okay. So you can see that little shield in there, screw, and then down underneath there is the screw. Just one screw, and then the back has these clamps, and it'll, oh no, I'm sorry. Gosh, I'm so used to the Santa Fe. This does have a couple of screws back here. So it is 3 screws on this. So Lionel definitely made some changes from when they did. So we're going to get out the magnetic dish so we have our screws in place. And let's take this shield off. By the way, this locomotive did have magnet traction. The later versions of this New York Central F-3 did not have magnet traction. So here's the little shield, got that off. And now we can get in there and get that screw off of there. So it had magnet traction, which, by the way, magnet traction is not so much a thing when you're running fast track because, and then we'll get these off the back here, because it's not like the tubular steel track where you have a lot of metal on here. You know, there's very little metal on that, just enough to conduct electricity so that the locomotives can run, but not a lot for the magnet traction wheels on these older pieces. And the whole purpose of magnet traction, forgive me for those of you who already know the answer to this, but those of you who don't, magnet traction gave the locomotives more grip to the track and more pulling power. Well, of course, now later on we have little rubber traction tires that go around these, and that's what's adding that. And magnet traction is, you know, not a thing anymore. So, all right. Well, we're trying to get this screw out of here, and it doesn't want to come out of there. Let's see. We can give it some really good turns. Might have to flip it back over on its belly to get it. I don't know. Oh, come on out of there. Oh, there it goes. All right. Okay, so now we're clear on this. Should be able to flip it over here and take the shell right off. Look at that. Wow. So it looks like it's pretty dirty up in here. This little clamp here looks like there's a rusted clamp on there, but it is original, but it's just, you know, rusted. So, oh, okay. Well, there you go. Whatever. Not so concerned about that. All right. So, a lot of dirt and rust on that, but I tell you, it runs great. This looks like a brand new horn. So what we want to do is, so I know he put new brushes in it. The motors are clean, but what I want to do is I want to take them off and I want to grease the worm gears, which are underneath these motors. And I'll have to take this horn off to take this motor off, and then grease up those worm gears with some the lithium grease that you can buy at model railroad hobby shops. So, all right. So let's take a look at this here. But yeah, I looked at the motors before, and he did. He put new brushes in them. He cleaned up the motors. Awesome. He got down in the motors. He got all the crappy grease out of there, and all that stuff that's, you know. So I'm sure the motors are greased up. Ah, don't you fall down in there, buddy. The motors are all greased up, but they just may be a little dry, or I might take it off there and realize it's not dry and it's just a loud motor or a loud couple of motors. That happens. You know, these electrical motors, they can be loud. So, all right. So here we go. Yeah, it looks like there's lubrication down in there, but maybe not grease. You know, it's maybe not. Let's see if we can clean that up just a hair. Yeah, well, it looks good. But yeah, motor's really good. I may shoot a little. Excuse my reach. I just take some of the grime off of there. It's just got a little bit. Really doesn't have much at all. This is gonna, you know, these get carbon scored real fast. Yeah, those are brand new brushes. All right, cool. Okay, so boy, I have tools everywhere. Okay. All right, so just a little bit of dirty grease in there. Let's pull that out. It gets dirty fast. So yeah, you can see it's got lithium grease in there. So, all right, let's just squirt a little bit of grease in there and a little bit of grease in there. There's no reason why this thing should be loud, but you never know. Again, a lot of times it could just be a loud motor or two loud motors. All right, so fit it down in there right. And get our big long screws that go down in there. Got that. Yeah, that's the only thing I really noticed about it is it runs very loud. So I don't know. But a little bit of extra grease sure can't hurt. It'll be fine. Okay, there we go. Now we come around to the trailing truck. Now, one of the things we got to do here is get this horn off, which I never use these horns. You got to put a battery in them, and it's like they sound like a door buzzer on an old apartment building, whatever. So it's like I'm not just okay, whatever. All right, got that. There we go. Just set that aside, and let's get into this rear motor. Maybe. Oh boy, come on. All right. And there is a washer in there, so maybe there's a washer in there. Oh, maybe there isn't. Yep. Missing the washer. I'm not too concerned. All right. Ah, there is a washer in there. Okay. So that's fine. All right. Now we got a little bit of grease buildup in there. Grease buildup in there. All right. And we're gonna hit this a little bit just while we're in here without taking it all apart. Just kind of get some of that carbon off of there. Let's build up. It doesn't take long. Just one run can get carbon buildup in there. All right, new brushes on this side too. That's awesome. Okay. Wipe all this down. All right. Get our grease. Put grease in there. A little bit of grease in there. Yeah. All right. That'll help it a little bit. Get some of that grease in there. Kind of clean that out. Okay. So, seeing hair in here. There we go. Ooh, what is this? Oh, crap. Here we go. Glad I saw that. I forgot about that little spring on the rear coupler. So now we set that down in there. Get our long screws. Sorry, I'm blocking the camera. Right, get that in there, and the only thing we have to do after this, we put that horn back on. So, all right, there's that. Let's get that in there. All right, okay. Now we got to put the horn back on. My thumb around there. Goes in there pretty easily. You can see what the difference between a new part in here and the original old parts. You can tell the difference. Okay, so let's get that back in there. So that way all the parts are in there. Now, hopefully, put this all back together and it runs. That's always a plus. Okay, so let's get this this shell back on, and we're going to put it on the test track and make sure that it runs. Okay, so let's take the non-powered unit off. Power unit on. And I just want to make sure it runs. But just going back and forth on the test track was not... Put that somewhere. Was not enough for me to hear this loud noise. All right. So make sure we're on the track properly. And let's give it a little power. Yeah, I can hear it still loud. It's just... Can you hear that? Well, I know it's lubricated. Know all of these bearings. It could be a bearing that's going bad, but boy, it doesn't really seem to impede it at all. But yeah, so who knows? But I run it, and it still runs really well. And if that becomes a louder, stronger issue, well, then maybe I have to take a look at the bearing. But I do have them lubricated, so it shouldn't really be doing that. It just may be that they're loud motors. I mean, that's been the case with some of these locomotives. They just have very loud motors. So anyway, let's get this up on the track and get some running footage. In the meantime, if you like this content and you like what we're doing here on the channel, please like this video, comment on this video, and subscribe to the channel. We really would appreciate that. Also, don't forget we are on Instagram and Facebook at Cloverdale Transit Authority. And we also have merch. Don't forget the merch, Cloverdale Transit Authority stickers, which you can kind of see one up here maybe. I should have one out here where I can hold up, but and t-shirts. And that helps the channel. We recently got some new audio equipment so you can hear us better. So those are the little things that really help us improve the channel and improve the videos that we're doing. All right. Thank you so much. Let's get this up on the railroad, and we'll see you on the next video. All right. Yeah, this is very loud. Sounds a little bit like a lawnmower. But everything's greased up, so I don't know what it would possibly be. But anyway, yeah, so I was real happy to get this, though. This was going to be on my York wish list, but I knew that, you know, this particular locomotive can cost upward around $300 because it's harder to find than the Santa Fe F-3 from the early 1950s. So anyway, I love it. It does sound a little bit like a lawnmower or maybe a model airplane, a radio-controlled airplane. But I think it's just the motors, very large, loud motors. If any of you had that experience with this or other F-3s or other diesels, let me know. And maybe there's something else I can try. Or we just have a sound system in the locomotive without a circuit board. All right, and as I said earlier, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.